The amount of fury crafting that I could do about this episode of Selector Spread WIXOSS is going to be insane. So, today, I know for a fact this is going to be a long review fury crafting segment. So, mind me as I take a sip of coffee. Okay. This episode of Selector Spread WIXOSS, it gives us enough information to fury craft, and enough information to figure out 3 different possibilities, or more possibilities than that, about what could possibly happen from this point onward. So, after thinking about the conclusion of this episode, I took about 5 minutes to just go back, look for the episode, look at everything, and then just think about it for a couple minutes to see exactly what was really going on in this episode. I noticed something very interesting. There are certain pieces of dialogue I actually went back to write the dialogue down to make sure I say it properly. For one thing, the girl of black hated the girl of white. That is from what I understand from this episode. That's exactly what happened. And the girl of black hated the girl of white so bad that the girl of black wanted to erase the existence of the girl of white. Now, think about this real quick, okay? At first look at this episode, I was looking at it as the entire terms of, the girl of white is Mayu, and then the girl of black looks like Iona. And it sets up to be like that, but there's different things you can get from this episode after thinking about it. Okay, at the end of this episode, you have it to where Mayu actually says, right on the cliffhanger, like right on the fucking cliffhanger, you see her say, "No, girl of black, you can't become the girl of white. You can't do that. Because if you were to become the girl of white, you would just be a shade of gray." And I'm thinking like, And then I wrapped it all up and I'm like, wait a minute. That smile right there from the girl of white, that I'm figuring is the girl of white, Mayu, makes me think something else. From what we saw Mayu say, makes me think of something else. Mayu is definitely a big, major player in the Selector world. We know this. She makes the rigs, she makes sure she puts certain people into different cards, and she started this entire ordeal, as we know. And the thing is, it seems like she has a lot of pools. She can just throw Iona into any card, she can throw Tama to anyone she wants, just stuff like that. And the thing was, the way she worded that, you could take it from 2 different ways. Like, for instance, she is the girl of white, and Iona's the girl of black. And then you have another theory, you can think that Iona's the girl of black, and Tama's the girl of white. That's another way you can take it. But I took it in another way that was very subtle. Well, it's kind of not subtle if you think about the smile that Mayu did. What if Mayu is the girl of black? Now, hear me out, okay? Let me get into this theory crafting to explain. Mayu, the reason why I say she's the girl of black is because of the smile and her entire antics and the way she's been portrayed in this series. I mean, for one thing, the girl of black, okay, was very angry and hated the girl of white and wanted to be the girl of white. She even states, like, the girl of black cannot become the girl of white, you'll turn into a shade of gray. Why would she know this, and why would she smile on that? It makes me believe that maybe Mayu was once the girl of black, the evil, and she wanted to be the girl of white, pretty much. And she took over that situation and erased the existence of the girl of black. Either it's Iona or Tama. Let me explain why I think this is true. In the opening song, we clearly see Iona going freaking evil mode. Like, you see her come out of the fucking car with Ruko, and you see, like, the evil face. The exact same face that Tama had in the first season. We go back to the first season, you look at the opening song again, you will see Tama trying to break through a freaking wall in the Selector world. I've mentioned that quite a few times in my reviews of Selector Infected WIXOSS. I was going to say spread. But pretty much, I mentioned that quite a few times, and that instantly makes me think, wait a minute, the color scheme of Iona and Tama when they were breaking out of the card, it looks like black, darkness, girl of black. It instantly matches that description. Now, why is it that Tama doesn't remember her past? Why couldn't she remember nothing? Like, why couldn't she speak at the beginning of the first episode of Selector Infected WIXOSS? Why couldn't she? Because her existence got erased. And it could also possibly be the same for Iona. So, there is a lot of questions right here. A lot of questions. Because what if there was, like, a certain number of girls in black? We don't know if there's only one. There could be multiple. It could be Tama and Iona. Because there's definitely a strange connection, because ever since the first season, it's always had this color scheme. If you look in the background, it's always had a color scheme with the fights. So you see like a green sky, you see a blue sky, stuff like that clashing. And if you look at Tama and Iona's fight in the first season at the ending episode, you will see, you know, the black and white colliding with each other. Now, what do you see in this episode? Like, what color scheme do you actually see when you look at Iona's side of the battlefield with Ruko? Black and white. Mixed. Gray. Now, what did Mayu say to Iona? You will turn into a shade of gray. So, clearly, there's a lot of elements going on here. It's talking about the events of, for instance, Iona taking Tama's spot, and she turned into a shade of gray. She's not fully black, and she's not fully white. She's gray. And that also can be the same for Mayu. I think Mayu, as always, the reason why I think Mayu said that, like, it's a girl black cannot become the girl white, is because of a color. Let's think about this in terms of colors of shirts, okay? If you had a white shirt, it's easier to stain. You can stain a white shirt and turn it black easier, any color. You can turn it red or whatever color you want. It's easier to stain white. But black, you can't stain black that well. You can't. You can maybe put a lighter color to get rid of black, but you can never truly get rid of black. So, I think personally that Mayu might be corrupted and evil. It's just my analogy I'm getting from this entire dialogue. But another thing, too, the entire ending conclusion of Futase mentioning that she doesn't know her name when she became a Lyrig. And I'm like, why doesn't she know her name? Now, I may have misunderstood it. She may have knew her name and just said, give me a name. But from what I understood, she did not know her name. And she asked Fumio to tell her and give her a name. And that instantly made me question, okay, whoa, something different here. There's something very fucking different, because as we've seen for Yuzuki, she can remember her name. She remembers her name, she remembers her past, so there's something different with this one rig that took over Fumio's body. And then there's another aspect of it that I'm just completely confused. Like, what happened to the original Fumio? What happened to her? Because we know she got turned into a card. She is in a card now, because the ending conclusion of this episode. But why? Where is she? Like, where is she right now? And really, I could see what her wish is after this episode. She wanted to be a novelist, and she couldn't accomplish it because of her past. For instance, with her parents constantly having this, like, feud and fighting each other, blaming each other for cheating on each other. Stuff you'd see in divorce-type stuff going on. And then, you know, all this pressure building upon Fumio, and then this pressure of failing to write her novel and it didn't get accepted, she was forced to go into Selector battles and win. And she did win, but she lost her body in the process, and the Rig Futase actually took over her body and wrote the novel for her. So we saw the entire example of that. The question is, it seems like Futase knows a lot more than she's speaking. Like, she brought up the girl black and girl white, so there's a lot more going on here. And here's a big other question that actually links to the first, you know, like last episode. Like last episode when I talked about the 3 people we saw in the flashback, or it was 2 episodes ago, one or the other. I talked about there was 3 different people. Now let's think about this from a logical standpoint, okay? 3 people. Colors being mentioned, girl black, girl white, and then we have the shade of gray. 3 people. 3 colors. Girl of white, girl of black, gray, or girl of gray. Tama, Iona, and Mayu. It's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility, because Iona's color scheme is gray. It's just downright fucking gray. And then, you know, Tama's is white. We know for a fact Tama is good. She's a really good person, and she seems to have lost her existence. Like, she doesn't remember anything, as we know. But Mayu knows a lot. And who would want to take an existence like Tama that seems to be very nice and kind? Mayu. Mayu took the girl of white spot. Right there. That's it. That's it right there. You have it to where Iona, Mayu, and Tama are linked. They are fucking linked. Now, the question is what really happened? Like, what really happened? Why does Mayu hate Ruko? Like, what we've seen through the course of this series, there's been subtle hints to it that Mayu is a very jealous person. We saw the jealousy in her character a couple episodes back when she was sending Tama back into the Rig world where she made her a card again. We saw this jealousy in Mayu. We clearly saw it. And jealousy reminds me of the girl black, being jealous of the girl white. And so, right there, like, why would this girl white, if she is the girl white, show such hatred or evilness or even a smile like that at the end of this episode if she is not evil? So, yes, a lot of things are popped up in this episode, and like I said, you could take it in different aspects. Like I said, it seems clearly the way they're setting this up is that Mayu is the ultimate villain, and she took the spot from Tama, or Iona. Wonder exactly where lies with Iona's purpose in this entire game. I mean, if she's gray, like, what path will she choose? Will she go the girl black path or the girl white path? Like, what will she choose? Because clearly she was out of character in this episode, and she was completely different from her normal self of just trying to manipulate Haruko. She actually gave her encouragement and acted something like how Tama would act. So, yeah. Overall, though, episode very, very good. Like I said, I have too many questions. I could continue going on and on about this. I could. And there's just so many connections and correlations with this entire bit that was, introduced to us in this episode. I can go back into multiple reviews I've done, and I could probably find more elements of what makes this have even more sense. So yeah, I'm leaving it to right there. Mayu is the girl of black, and Tama is the girl of white that had her existence erased. Iona is the girl of gray that doesn't know what path she wants to choose, pretty much. But I'm guessing she's the wild card. I don't know. So yeah. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. How did you feel about this week's episode? Honestly, I want to rate this episode a 10 out of 10. The plot reveals, the connections, the subtle foreshadowing, the hints to this episode that's been through the course of this entire series since the first fucking episode of Selector infected WIXOSS to this point is amazing. So, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 episodes. So yeah, tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Do some theory crafting. I want to see what kind of theories you all come up with. If you think my theory is wrong, let me know in the comments below and give me your, little bit on this theory and tell me if you can add more to it. Debunk my theory, just let me know in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night, wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.